Recordings. Welcome to DRTSPR show. This is Dr. Tangella Shiva Prasad Reddy alias Dr. TSPR. Namaste, Adab, hello, and a warm welcome to one of my favorite administrators and who always believes in administration. The administration should be transparent and accountable. संविधान के तौर पर, आधार के तौर पर और लोगों को जिस तरह समझ में आना उस तरह काम करने वाले एक IAS अधिकारी, ఒక IAS అధికారి చట్టం రాజ్యాంగం ఆధారం దీంతో పాటు పాలన పారదర్శకంగా జవాబుదారితనంతో ముందుకు పోతేనే ప్రజలకు అభివృద్ధి సంక్షేమం జరుగుతుంది అని నమ్మే వ్యక్తుల్లో డాక్టర్ అజయ్ మిశ్రా గారు. నమస్కారం సార్, వెల్కమ్ టు ది స్పెషల్ షో అండ్ ఐఎమ్ వెరీ హ్యాపీ టు హోస్ట్ యూ, highly knowledgeable. And whenever I say Ajay Mishra ji, people expect to speak about energy and all. Yes, that will come back. He's an expert on that and he has done so much. But today, being an administrative officer, what is happening in India? Right from Gully to Delhi, we say, whether it comes to law and order, constitution, or you say rule of law, or the evidence or the Evidence Act. ఏం జరుగుతా ఉంది గల్లీ నుంచి ఢిల్లీ, తెలంగాణ నుంచి ఢిల్లీ వరకు చట్టం రాజ్యాంగం ఆధారంతో కూడినటువంటి మనం క్రిమినల్ జస్టిస్ సిస్టమ్ అంటాం. నేరాన్ని నిరూపించడానికి కావాల్సినటువంటి ఆధారాలు, తదుపరి తీర్పులు ఇవ్వాల్సినటువంటి కోర్టులు, పోలీస్ వ్యవస్థ, తర్వాత వారు ఎఫ్ఐఆర్లు చేసిన తర్వాత ఛార్జ్ షీట్ వేసిన తర్వాత ఆధారాలతో అక్కడ కోర్టుకు సబ్మిట్ చేస్తే న్యాయ వ్యవస్థకు తీర్పు అక్కడ జరగాల, విచారణ అక్కడ జరగాల. అది జరుగుతుందా? ఇక్కడ ఎవరికో కాదు. ఇప్పుడు ఈరోజు ఒకరిని చంపేస్తాం, రేపు వాడు వచ్చి అదే మాట్లాడతాడు, ఇంకోటి వచ్చి అదే మాట్లాడతాడు. చట్టం రాజ్యాంగం ఎక్కడ ఉంటుంది? సో ది ట్రయల్ హ్యాస్ టు బీ ఇన్ ది కోర్ట్. ఈజ్ ఇట్ హ్యాపెనింగ్? బికాస్ వి సే ఈక్వి జస్టిస్, సమన్యాయం ఎక్కడ జరుగుతుంది? కోర్టులోనే కదా. అందరికీ సమతూలంగా ఇవ్వాల్సినటువంటి న్యాయం, దాన్ని సమన్యాయం అంటారు. అదే మన రాజ్యాంగం గొప్పతనం. వీఆర్ నాట్ trying to take sides of anyone. We always said the people who live by sword, ultimately they have to die by sword. That is fine. వాడు కత్తితో యుద్ధం చేస్తే కత్తితోనే పోతాడు. కానీ పోయే క్రమంలో మిగతా ప్రజలకు ఆ చట్టం రాజ్యాంగం ఆధారం అనుకూలంగా ఉంటుందా? వారు తమ జీవన శైలిని ఎటువంటి భయం లేకుండా కొనసాగించవచ్చా? కెన్ పీపుల్ కంటిన్యూ టు లివ్ ఆర్ లీడ్ దేర్ లైఫ్స్ వితౌట్ ఎనీ ఫియర్? దట్ ఈస్ ది బిగ్గెస్ట్ థింగ్. What is criminal justice system? What is rule of law? What is constitution? Today we are going to discuss it with Ajay Mishra ji. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Shiv Prasad Garu. In fact, the subject which we are starting today, it's a very wide subject. And almost many people have their views on that. So whatever we discuss is bound to be accepted by few, may not be accepted by many. So we have to be prepared for that.
Yeah.
But my observations on the justice system, with a rider that it should not lead to contempt of court. Because anything can happen today for any remark which we make. But then the academic side of it, the first point of justice system as we see in our country is why some cases take years and some cases got or continue to be heard on day-to-day basis on a priority. Are there some norms for it, or it is the whims and fancies of the concerned person sitting on the chair on that day? So that if it can be rationalized by the collective wisdom of the judiciary, that will go a long step in correcting some of the ills of the system which we face, and naturally we criticize because system is not what it should be. So first is the time factor. Judiciary has its own explanations for that. We are aware of that. But then, why a case should be heard at midnight?
Yeah.
and why another case gets a date after a few months again to be postponed. So that is first question which should be reflected upon by all of us, and some solution found which should be to the satisfaction of most of us, I'll say. All of us will be difficult. Second point, the role of money which we see being to be spent compulsorily for the judicial system by the poor to get justice. We are aware that legal aid assistance procedures are there, but the practicality of that also we are aware. To approach to seek justice is very costly. And when I say costly, it has to be in terms of what the average person who is denied justice earns on a monthly or an annual basis. So the pulls, pressures, networking, I'll not go into because those are very debatable points. What we have to discuss has to be more evidence-based. So because of these two systems, primarily, these two factors primarily, the time and the money factor, justice, if any, is in isolation. So that is the bane of our system today, as I see it. And anything which is isolated is not the norm. It is not what we seek from our society, from our constitution, the way it is being implemented. These are my initial remarks, Dr. Shiv Prasad Garu.
Wonderful, as you rightly said, the time, the essence of time is what we always say is very, very important. And it should not be, as you rightly said, discriminating the time or the justice system. So you think these are the basic aspects because of which there is so much of injustice? Because when we said constitution, it is the fraternity, it always speaks of equijustice in all aspects, irrespective of caste, creed, religion, or otherwise. You mean to say even 72 years beyond after independence, are we still struggling that the justice system is not reaching the needy and the poor?
We are struggling badly, I'll put it. And the simple thing, I'll not go into number game, the number of cases pending in our courts for long number of years, that itself speaks of that. There is a famous saying, justice delayed is justice denied. Even if I get justice after 20 years, what will be the meaning of that justice? Anyone can speak about that. But we are struggling to provide justice as a society to our citizens.
But how long you think this would continue? And you mean to say that the common man, the common citizen, or the suffering, instead of seeking justice in the normal way, are they losing trust in the system?
They are not losing trust, all of them, because if trust was not there, people will not approach the courts. So the basic faith of the public still is there in the judiciary. But then once they approach the court, what is the feeling of them after a few years? That reflects the way it is responding to the public. So the faith is there, but then the time taken for many cases, I'll say, will be torturous, and I am reflecting the remarks of our Honorable President when she spoke 2 months back. She said many have to sell their properties, poor people, when they approach justice. So that means something needs to be corrected and corrected in a short time. So that is the need of the hour. How we do it, as I say, collective wisdom and a sincere effort. There are vested interests behind it who will be benefiting by delays. Those have to be identified and solutions found for that.
But as you rightly quoted the Honorable President, and she agonizingly, she said, they have to sell everything. That is a big statement by the President of India, constitutional head. And then we say the first citizen of India. People fear, or people have to sell their properties if they have to approach the justice system. And this too after 72 years, because you have been administrator. Is there any lacking in policy making by administrators, or the administrators like you all, IAS, or whether it is IPS or whoever it is, or they are not being part of this policy making, or simply to just say to protect their interest of posting, chalo bhai, yes boss type of syndrome also? Is it what that is hampering policy making? Because policies have to be made by those who are elected, passed by parliament, assemblies and everywhere.
Major policy decisions, I'll not venture to say that the bureaucrats are not performing their role. Bureaucrats, most of the times, are performing their role in advising and giving their opinion on any new policy proposal which comes to the government. But then there are democratic compulsions. When I say democratic compulsions, see, a party comes to power on the basis of its manifesto, what they have promised in the manifesto.
Right.
That has to be honored, that has to be implemented. It's a democratic principle. It's not against any politician or against any political party. People have voted that party in power because of some of the items, some of the promises which are mentioned in the manifesto and which have been proclaimed by the leaders of that party.
Yeah.
So naturally, once the party comes to power, then it is bound democratically to implement those to the level possible of different compulsions. At that level, for any officer to outrightly oppose those policies or those manifesto promises will be undemocratic. One has to, and these are very, see, we are functioning in a democratic system.
Yes. For democratic,
we have to suggest, yes, we have to suggest ways and means by which those manifesto promises can be implemented in a proper way for the benefit of the public.
Yeah.
So that is being done to a large extent. And but then the overall macro level picture of all the manifesto promises vis-a-vis the government, this thing, that is not examined many a times. And there I'll find bureaucrats' role should be more assertive, I'll put it. They definitely point it out. But then they point it out, and as per the rules and procedures in place, we point out after that if the bureaucrat is overruled, he has to implement it or leave the job. But leaving the job, leaving the scene is against Bhagavad Gita. see our culture and our democracy.
I only hope all IAS, IPS officers are going to support you and make you again the president of the association. So well.
See, just because you see, I've been overruled on some decision, I can't. It will not be as per Bhagavad Gita for me to leave the field and go away. So we have to implement it to the level possible.
Implemented, but you are saying Bhagavad Gita, then at least now I ask people when they go to court, take note files. Every IAS officer, to save his skin, he will write something. Go for RTI petition, those note files. If the minister or the chief minister or the prime minister or any department, income tax department, higher commissioners or whoever it is, if they are going against your need-based solutions as per rule of law, constitution, invoking evidential act, those are the evidences which will be very vital. Take them and go file. See, IAS officer, principal secretary, he wrote, or the district collector, he has written, but see, the overruled by the minister, or minister writes, IAS, IPS officer, they don't, Bhagavad Gita norms. If they don't also, that note file is also there. Without assigning anything, if he simply implements the other agenda, there also it is caught, because note files, these are all vital evidences. Why I'm stating all these things is, rule of law, when we say, it is in your hands. Once you sign, it becomes a government order. It is a people participatory constitutional democracy. We elect representatives from Sarpanch to MPs. But ultimately, those policies are implemented on your name, on chief secretary's name, or on the principal secretary's name of the department. It is you, IAS officer. And when it comes to policing, it is the IPS. So when you are responsible, how is that this criminal justice system still prevails? Because you are the first exponents of the law before the trial comes to the court. Now we'll take the example of the latest, they say gangster or whoever it is, Atik murder case. He was MLA and then MP. He was divested of everything. He and his brother Ashraf got killed. And 2 days prior, his son Asad also, he was also killed in an encounter. In these encounters, police say, we are not getting into the merits of that. Now, Supreme Court also, I'm told, has constituted a 3-member committee. Likewise, what happened to Disha case here, the unfortunate IPS officers and all running around. And they forget that they have given statements publicly as if this is a cinema. And that too, emotional bargain. The entire people were happy that time. And people were literally forcing, for one mistake of that SI Shamshabad, Disha case, had he acted promptly, he could have saved them. And had we had CCTVs in that entire range as per rule of law, in the highways, checkposts, those visuals would have literally helped. And we say we have the best monitoring system in Hyderabad. Likewise, in India, Prime Minister also boasts of. Why prevention is not happening? Why we could not prevent crimes? So it comes to Uttar Pradesh. That man started Atik Ahmed as a 17-year-old into the crime history. Now, who is responsible for that?
See, why people go into crime-related activities as a way of life? The subject is very vast. Social issues, employment issues, temptation of early gains in a short time, popularity. Those are some of the issues why people go. But then coming to the main issue of murder of the accused when he was in police custody, he was being taken from one place to another. See, I will call it is reflective of Jungle Raj. Jungle Raj means whoever has more power, more force at that point of time does what he feels like. That has happened. But then in a rule-bound society like ours, the Supreme Court has given the right directions. But what is to be ensured is that in a time frame, the guilty are brought to the book. They are punished by the court in a time-bound fashion, that can be some kind of a deterrent for future such actions. If the killers of 2 days back event, if it takes few years for them to be brought to the judgment, then the deterrence will be much less. If they are brought following the due process of law in few months' time, that is what is required. See, we see in some cases in the West, because why I am saying some, not all cases we read or we follow. Whenever any murder is happening, whenever any violent incident is happening, individual cases, the guilty is brought to some kind of a punishment in a time frame. That is not being followed due to different reasons in our system, and thereby the deterrence of committing violent crimes is less.
Yeah, as you rightly
So-
pointed out that West, but here I'll just put the same IAS IPS lobby are there in when Samajwadi Party was ruling, when Atiq Ahmed was trying to create mayhem, and he has even killed. I'm not here to judge. We are not here to judge because it's for the courts. Because courts have pronounced lifetime imprisonment, killing BSP MLA for the simple reason that that seat was won by him and his brother Ashraf lost. And he is killed, and Umesh Paul is the witness. See, they kill him, and they kill him in such a heinous way. So many bullets are pumped into that MLA, BSP MLA. Then what is it not the responsibility of the then administrators, IAS or IPS? Now, the other same set of IAS, IPS will be there. Some are transferred, some are favored. Again, the same group now eulogizing these encounters. How do you look? Because are they not responsible then? Even if Samajwadi Party or any other, we are not here to judge that government. If they are providing patronage to such violent incidents, don't you think they should have told, we are not going to admit this, come whatever may. This fellow has to be brought to book, even if he is your MLA or your MP. This is against rule of law, against constitution, infringement of fundamental rights, right to life. Had they done then, you think this would have continued, this saga?
I'm reverting to my main point again. See, had the accused been brought to book and punished, jailed in a time frame, then it would have been much more difficult, much more deterrent for the cycle of events to follow. But that is not happening. See, we may find individual officers or people who are in the seat of delaying the justice system. But then we should, with experience of all this and more, have system where the justice system should not be delayed to that level where the evidence is of this nature. But then the manipulation is taking place. What does our justice system say? You are innocent till proved
Guilty.
otherwise.
Yes.
Guilty.
That's
So till the time you are proved, till the time you are jailed, you are innocent. And this is law.
But as you
So-
rightly said, that should be Jungle Raj, because that time so much of violence has been created by
Yes.
earlier regimes, and these people come to the this thing stating that we will remove Gunda Raj, and again the state machinery. Now you see those killers of Atiq Ahmed, they say we have killed this to become famous. Now what is the message they are giving now? It is atrocious. See, to at least I would have been happy. Oh no, some injustice has been done in their families. That is why they have taken up. That also we don't advise violence for violence. And that is why, as you rightly said, Jungle Raj. Then why do we need to have this law enforcing agencies, courts? Why do you have constitution? Why do you have a free press? And why do you have executive all about? And why do you have electoral system?
No. I'll slightly differ. See, the law enforcing agencies may not be able to prevent all crimes at the time when they happen. But then once the crime occurs, they should be able to investigate in a time frame through the judicial system, bring the guilty to the book in a time frame. That will be a deterrent for further cycle of crimes to happen. So that is not happening, which is in our hand.
Yeah.
See, very few societies, there is zero crime.
Yeah.
But then if the crime takes place,
Right.
the guilty are brought to the book. They are condemned. And legally also they are punished. In how many cases, in our case, the final punishment is happening to the criminal? First thing is, he is not found guilty for years to come. So punishment cannot come till he is found guilty. So we have to correct that. How
Yes.
it is to be corrected,
Jubilee Hills rape
that's a
case,
different.
Jubilee Hills rape case, a minor comes out and leading names of public representative involved. I don't know what happened to this case and where that girl and family has gone. And then
Yes.
murder of the advocates couple when they were protesting and when they were contesting sand mafia. High Court had constituted a committee. We don't know what has happened. As you rightly said, delayed justice system, delayed criminal justice system is the one which is hampering and all this. And then we have seen that Shano Banu case, rape case victims in Gujarat, how court has released them and how they are celebrating. Now this becomes again religious politics in the name of electoral gains. Innocent public are drawn into that. Now here also Uttar Pradesh, now you have seen he is the messiah of Muslims. That's how they are saying. There they say Hindus have come out. Now, how do so now who has to correct this? Now what beats my intelligence is now who has to correct this?
See, the basic flaw as our constitution is being implemented for the last 7 decades is we do not have effective rule of law in our country. This is a very extreme sentence which I am saying. When I say rule of law is implemented, but it is implemented if we see by default, because of some reason it is being implemented. If we see the number of cases in which rule of law is not being implemented, those numbers are much larger. So that has to be, if we make something as a law, it should be implemented. It should not just be made a law or a rule if we cannot implement it. I will go beyond this in the realm of thought, because it's not any evidence-based. We got our constitution more than 7 decades back. What was handed over to us as a constitution? Was it our system of governance or some other imported system of governance? I am a student of political science to start with.
Yeah.
When we read about the constitution 4 decades back, what did we read? We have the best of the British and the American constitution in our this thing. Ours is more detailed. But then this is a reflection. This is not a criticism of the way it was done.
No, we are frankly discussing. We have last
Yes.
9 minutes. We have last
Yes.
9 minutes.
See, no.
Go ahead, sir.
With the experience of 7 decades now.
You are a political science student and you are an IAS officer. You are an administrator also. With your
So-
one side, you could have made government orders. Yeah, that's why you are.
No. I will not go into that. I'll not go into that.
We have 9
How
minutes.
were we governed? No. How were we governed before the Britishers came to us?
Yeah.
Were those governing practices, principles, did they find a mention in our constitution?
Yeah.
Because before the Britishers came, we were being governed as a good society.
I know.
Whoever was the king,
Yeah.
whoever was the emperor, but
Yeah.
there was a system.
Yeah.
But we didn't go into those details at all. At all means they were not considered in real terms. They may have been mentioned in few lines and paragraphs in our debates.
Right.
So we have basically copied the Western democracies
Right.
and thrust on a society which was being governed by different principles earlier,
Yeah.
and then deviated by the principles or thrust by the principles which the Britishers thought fit for ourselves.
Oh,
See,
they were guiding spirit
see,
again.
which the Britishers thought best for ourselves. They brought the Evidence Act, they brought the CRPC, they brought the Penal Code, etc.
Yeah.
Because they thought that it was good for their running and governing us.
Right.
We are still being governed by them.
The same gown, the same
And the
coat we wear.
Constitution, yes. So, see, this is my reflection after see,
Right,
few
but-
decades. See.
Okay, we are here
And
to discuss.
these ideas I didn't have, see, few years back also.
Right.
So, we should try to reflect, and this is not political.
Yeah.
See, even today, most of our micro societies, I'll say villages, and see, they are being governed in a different way. They are being run in a different way.
Yes.
We are trying to thrust the elections and all those things there.
I know.
See, and then the deviations which come.
I know.
So this is one of my thought process that we have to modify, adapt
Sir.
the Western democratic liberal principles to our society in a proper way and not copy it.
Wonderful.
Maybe there we find some betterment. I'm not saying that that will change, because that is in the realm of imagination as on now.
Right.
Those principles worked well 300, 400 years back.
Right.
With what modifications today they can work in our society.
Right.
And different areas, different regions of our country may require different modifications.
Yes.
That also.
Right.
It was good for the British to have a uniform civil code, uniform penal code for all of us
Right.
to govern us.
Right.
So that is my reflection of today.
Wonderful. So I'll leave it at that, because we are not here to judge anyone nor
Correct.
criticize anyone. When Asaduddin says radicalization of minds, he says, but he's forgetting Hyderabad. Can any Hindu or Christian or a Sikh become AIMIM party president? Or can anyone contest in those corporator seats, MLA seats, or his own MP seat other than Muslims? What are you speaking? Because this is how you try to enrage. And the other side of the coin, Hinduism again. Now they are also happy to promote you and in turn gain. Now, how can you criticize? Both indulge in such a thing wherein the criminal justice system is the one which is really failing us. We're not here to blame anyone. The criminal justice system should be equal to everyone, time-bound manner. Had it been implemented in a proper way, you mean to say Mr. Atik or whoever it is would have enlarged their scope of violent activities to such a level wherein he has succumbed, his family has succumbed, unfortunately. Is this the way to run the administration? I leave it to all those administrators who are in the policy making and who are supposed to get into the basic essence of prevention, as well as when unfortunately crime happens, how expeditiously you try to relate that crime as per rule of law. Again, inviting public confidence. No one should feel, as you rightly said, that you have been framed unnecessarily, as has been happening from Telangana to Delhi. The journalists, how they have been lifted, as and when we speak truth. We have nothing against anyone. We have seen Nirbhaya Act, what happened. After that also, why so many rapes? UP also, we have seen how girls were raped and burnt in front of their own this thing. What is happening? We are making laws, but why that law is not being implemented? Why the crime after crime is still happening in spite of the law? Even we have seen Jubilee Hill's case, Owaisi doesn't speak and he speaks everything. So this discriminatory approach of the politicians, helped by their own administrative system, we are not naming anyone. Is it the reason why such type of violence activities keep on happening, and for how long? And is it the one which is going to make people to vote on that basis, forgetting the basic issues, roti, kapda, aur makan, and the natural resources, hamare sahaj sampada, mana sahaj sampadalu, when they are being looted by a 1%, should we keep on fighting this way? When everything is looted, what is that we are going to give our kith and kin tomorrow? That has to be borne in my mind. And not only that, the Supreme Court in Disha case or other cases, you said the contempt, and whatever you said, you try to investigate on human human rights violations and all. Had the justice system delivered in a speedy way, do you think such type of encounters or whatever you say will happen in anywhere in the country? Then who is responsible? Those who are perpetuating crime, and the politicians, the political parties, administrators keep quiet, their own media eulogize them, and when they are on the wrong side, they are being targeted, and again in the name of votes and everything. When the entire system, we have seen Disha too, now they are also celebrating in UP. Now, is this going to give them strength? Again, vote them back to power? Then who is to blame and how? Yes, sir, your passing comment.
I will, one of the last comments I'll put it. We have been taught, we have been like, it has been publicized by the Western judicial system that justice is blind.
Yeah.
We have, I will not elaborate on that. But
Yeah.
then if we see our culture,
Right.
what happened in Mahabharata when
Right.
the leading family person was blind?
Folded.
So see, the justice should not be blind. It
Wonderful.
should never be propagated as blind, because we know what, see, lives were lost, all those things, just because the elderly family person acted in a blind way.
Right.
So that is my last comment.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So let us take the Itivrittam of Mahabharatam. If you become blindfolded, what has happened? Why war? So much of this thing happened.
Yes.
So that justice system should not be blindfolded. And before I say bye, do support DRTSPR channel, Citizen DRTSPR channel, and environment people DRTSPR channels. Practice whatever you preach, or whatever you preach, put that into practice. Only then we say we will live as a nation, irrespective of caste, creed, religion, divide of all this violence, whether it is in the name of religion or pampered by corporates to suit their need, divide and rule British legacy. We should overcome that. It is there in our own hands. Never allow such type of violence to be eulogized in the name of religion, caste, creed, or party-wise. This is going to be a very, very difficult time for people participatory constitutional democracy, wherein we say every citizen is a constitutional authority.